So your book is about to come out and I'm so excited. Congratulations. I mean, you have so many stories to tell, so I'm so happy that you actually came through and wrote a book and you're telling all the stories.
Well, and in fact, because I want to come back to you because your album has just come out.
Yes, it has.
And I think it's a very similar kind of process. I mean, it's stories, but in a different kind of way. It's something from deep down inside of you.
Yeah.
And so much of the congratulations goes just to doing it, to actually getting it done and getting it out. I had so much fun doing it.
Yeah.
And you must have had a tremendous amount of fun doing it.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if fun is the right word.
No.
I mean, for me, especially as an actor, because I'm so used to playing someone else, I can be vulnerable as someone else, but for me to kind of break down those barriers and tell my stories and be myself and write from a really honest, raw place and not care about being judged for it, that took a lot.
Well, and in fact, you've put your finger on something. When I did the first few chapters, my agent gave some very good advice. He said, you know, these are interesting stories, but you've got to tell more about yourself.
Yeah.
You've got to open it.
It's your book.
Yes. And once I started doing that, it was nerve-wracking, but you just start doing it and it just flows. And from that point on, the book sort of wrote itself.
So that being said, what do you think was your greatest challenge in the Degrassi history?
Oh, the greatest challenge. When we'd shot a soap opera called Riverdale, and it was canceled after 3 years, and that really devastated us. And Linda actually wanted to get out of the business, and it turned out that that challenge, and it looked like a devastating defeat, was the best thing that ever happened to us, because if it hadn't been canceled, we never would have brought Degrassi back.
Right.
But when you talk about challenges, to me, I just have so much fun doing what it's doing. It's like, okay, bring it on. It's not a challenge, it's like a puzzle.
Is there one storyline that when you were in that suite and figuring out the music for it, was there one specific storyline that kind of really made you tear up? I know you have no problem being vulnerable when you're doing sound mixes and choosing music for the show.
Well, I'm a crier.
Me too. And I think we both discovered that about each other on the last day.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, that I know this isn't where you're going to, but that time when you were graduating, and it's happened before with other graduating classes.
Yeah.
It's hard not to be just a complete mess. Well, I can think of a couple. Actually, there's probably about 50. One I talk about in the book, which was the end of the Time Stand Still episode where Jimmy gets shot, and of course Rick dies. But all that happened in the end of the show, and it wasn't actually written this way, but we chose the piece of music by Melissa McClelland called Rooftop, and we ended up taking out all the dialogue and just playing the music as you watch everybody's reaction to the shooting. You know, I sort of tear up a bit even thinking about it because it was such a shocking moment. And rather than have people talking about it, let's just play the music. And the lyrics to it were pretty phenomenal. I am playing God. And the last word that she says is alone, because Rick felt absolutely alone. Are you able to cry as an actor? Or what trick do you have?
For me, crying, I don't know why. I had an amazing upbringing. I haven't gone through any sort of trauma in my life to make me cry on command, but somehow I can. I think I really put myself in the shoes of my character and just think about the circumstances that have caused them to feel that way, and that just kind of gets me there. Is there a specific song that you would say was your favorite to place in the show?
I think it might have been, was it your episode when we used Brave? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. That was at the end of the storyline where Zoe gets sexually assaulted, and all of the photos from the party end up online, all over social media, and they kind of try to figure out who the culprit was.
What were you thinking as you were leading up to the scene?
Leading up to that, when I was watching that episode, it was Honestly, the music that stood out to me, obviously everybody else's performances, everything that was happening was great, but just the music was so fitting for that storyline and for that episode.
And then at the end, when we came to that episode where you're walking away with all your friends around you and have a frappuccino or whatever it was that you're being handed, right. And the song Brave is being played.
It was such an incredible moment. Like, you felt the satisfaction and this comfort at the end of that episode. And just like the way that arc ended, it was a beautiful ending. I was so happy with the way that it turned out.
It's so wonderful when that happens. And it happens when you've produced, 500 plus episodes or whatever. There are times when just a piece of music just works and nobody else may notice it, but we know it's just there.
We can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope you have an incredible amount of success with your book.
Well, thank you very much.
All of it.
And with your, not just your album, but you've got a huge career ahead of you, and wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.